And the last city, Osaka, which is supposed to be the food and nightlife capital of the entire country. Um, I loved it. I loved everything about Osaka. It's if I was going to live anywhere, I probably would settle in Osaka, or at least just outside of it. I mean, living in a city is a bit much. So yeah, we rocked up. I think we'd spent most of the day travelling actually, because I don't have an awful lot of notes about day one. The only thing I've really got in there is to say that they have signs advertised saying that please maintain a 2 metre social distance, but certainly in the cities and certainly in Osaka, Tokyo, and the like, it doesn't work. You cannot maintain a 2 metre distance. You can't do it on public transport. You can't do it in shops. It's just it's too, this population density is just too much. It's physically just not practical. So yeah, we get into sort of the start of the. Oh no! I remember now. The first day we set up at the hotel. We got there pretty early, and we decided we were going to sit around for a while and sort of like try and book meals and get the plan sorted. And so we did sit down and sort of work some things out and had a meal in the hotel, which was actually quite nice. I think they were playing the Beatles again. But yeah, the Cross Hotel Tokyo, quite a nice place, and the actual the facilities and the rooms really pleasant too. So yeah, uh, so we got to wandering around the actual city on the first day. Um, Went to the Osaka Aquarium, which, if you've been to an aquarium, you'll have an idea of what it's like. Although it was a very nice place. There's some really fantastic animals in there, and more than just fish. Only thing is, it was quite crowded, and since the pandemic, I don't like standing in crowds. I feel like people would rather I kept my distance as well, being from outside. So I was watching a lot of it from a bit of a distance. But it was still fine. I just didn't want to like lump in with everyone trying to get the photos of the penguins and the ferrets. What was I saying? Otters. Um, and not to begrudge anyone who was doing that, because I mean, everyone was like nipping in to get some photos. I was doing it a little myself, but I just don't like standing shoulder to shoulder with people since the unpleasantness occurred. I think I'm still a bit, you know, I don't want to say traumatized, but on edge from after it all happened the first time round. Um, Sorry, I'm losing my voice now. So yeah, we one thing I did notice though, if you go into the big cities, a lot of people are dressed like they're about to go out to just the most elegant of tea parties. So there are people just wearing like very formal dresses and like kimonos and just like very very almost like very young fashions, like frilly dresses with like little like puffy socks and like hair ribbons and stuff, and things that over here you'd see someone wear and wonder what kind of person they were, but over there it's a bit more common and you don't think too much of it. Um, so yeah, went around the aquarium, and I'll be honest, not a lot to say about it other than it was a well stocked, well laid out aquarium. Unlike aquariums in this country, it didn't have like this smell of like spilt seawater all over the place. It was like very nice and clean and fresh in there. They did have a tunnel that you just walk through. There's just like fish over your head, and it's very disorienting. But yeah, there was some good stuff in there. Um, I don't know how it was for like educational purposes. I mean, there were placards explaining what all the animals were and where they came from, and then like, I, I, it was worth it just to like see them up close though. Although these sunfish were just the goofiest things. Like, man, I like the sunfish. I really like sharks as well. I love a good shark. So yeah, we went to after that we got a ticket on a like a tourist boat. I think you could get it's like a package deal with the aquarium aboard. I think it was called the Santa Maria, and when it comes rolling up, it's playing like sort of sort of almost the kind of jazz I'd associate with Louisiana. It's just all like very easy, like Mardi Gras kind of like just just lazy big horn kind of stuff. And so this boat's playing a bunch of it. Actually, quite a few venues in Osaka were as well. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, we all get aboard that, and like everywhere else in Japan, you could get a beer on board if you wanted to. And yeah, just took us on a bit of a trip around the bay. Pointed out a couple of things of interest. Got a lot of photos. Just families enjoying a bit of a day out. It was sort of styled to look like a pirate ship, which was a little bit cheesy, but it was nice enough. It was just nice to go out and see a few things. Um, then, one thing: the if you ever use urinals over there, they're quite low to the ground. In fact, they're actually on the ground. That takes a bit of getting used to. So I went to a vending machine and got a can of something called Chill Out. I still don't know what it is. I haven't looked it up yet. But I had to neck it because we were about to get on a train and I didn't want to have an open can with me. And felt very oddly mellow for about 20 minutes after that one. I don't know if it was all in my head or what, but well, strange stuff. Then back to the hotel for a couple of hours and we went on the food tour. So we had a French guide for this one. He looks like the kind of person. Well, he came across as the kind of person who he does the tour guide thing for a living, which he does. But he just sort of travels for a living and looks at sites. And basically, part of his living is maintaining a very adventurous Instagram feed. Um, so he knows the town. He's lived there for quite a while. He knows the things to see, and was quite good at. He appeared to be quite good at tailoring the experience to the kinds of people that were with him. So I don't think we really gave off the kind of vibe that we were going to go out and like want to go and get completely slaughtered in clubs or whatever. So we went to like several food venues, and he ordered for us to to give us a he checked that we were okay with certain kinds of foods, and then like just ordered off menus and got like mixtures of all kinds of things, and was just just generally kept us very well taken care of. Um, and yeah, we did. We must have been four restaurants at least. I've never eaten so much in my entire life. It was actually it was too much in the end. I couldn't keep going. It was worth it, but it was a lot of food. But we got really fortunate that we were in Osaka right about Halloween, like a couple of days before. So we were. Osaka takes Halloween incredibly seriously, especially around American or like the sort of like the American like after the war, people set up in American to view just like selling memorabilia and other odds and ends associated with the sort of the war and the recent introduction of a lot of westernized stuff, and it sort of turned into its whole sort of like area, like a market kind of thing, and it's I think mostly associated now with a younger population, which means it's quite lively and it's quite entertaining. There's a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants and stuff. And being Halloween as it was, they were taking things really seriously. They were just people out in costumes all over the place. Um, really, really cool stuff. So I ran into this fella here. I think he was British, but Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared has only recently started airing on Netflix over here, and presumably the rest of the world, if it is airing at all, because it's a British show. So yeah, ran into him. Pretty sure he was British. Might have been drunk. I don't know. I was fairly, but yeah, he seemed really happy to be recognised. Um, some of the costumes were fantastic. Really good stuff. And the guide was really good about taking us out to a venue. We get like a meal, maybe a drink, and then we go for a bit of a walk to just like burn some of it off, and then like go get some street food from a little vendor. Go to a quiet place by the river, have some like a bit of a snack there, then move on to something a bit more lively, and occasionally like go into the middle of the Halloween festivities and like meet a couple of people, take a bunch of photos, and yeah, it was just a absolutely fantastic evening. It was definitely the kind of thing I was hoping to do in Osaka. Like absolutely spot on. It almost defied explanation. Though it was just so absolutely full of energy. Um, so yeah, that was real cool. I mean, I actually had a guy come up to us, and he was saying to tour guide, where are these guys from, and we were saying like Britain, and this guy just sort of stops and he pauses for a second, and he looks at me and he says, "I'm sorry about the Queen," and I just sort of looks at him like, you know what, mate, it's all right, it's fine, I don't care. Uh, and then we went on to the last proper day. Um, so it was a bit subdued, actually, because I think we were all getting tired, very, very tired. And you just, it was the end of 3 weeks, we were starting to run out of steam. So we ended up on another bit of just a bit of a shrine tour. Um, there was there was a thing with a performing monkey. Didn't really care for it, to be honest. Didn't like that they were doing that with a monkey, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it has a particularly good life. Maybe it's well cared for. Maybe its owners are really, really concerned about its well-being. I don't know. I'm not big on putting animals in funny outfits to perform for other people's amusement. But then, it's not my house. It's not my rules. Sure, I wasn't going to say anything about it. Um, and yeah, that we did go to the Osaka Castle Museum, I think. But I don't know. I think we'd just sort of run out of just oomph by that point. And I mean, there was the fact that this 3 week holiday of a lifetime was coming to an end. It really just sort of put a bit of an edge on things. So we were going to go out for one last hurrah and get like real proper sushi. I don't think my father-in-law was feeling too great. Sort of, to be honest, I think he was exhausted, and we were really getting on sort of like on the edge of not being all right. But we went out and ended up in this one venue that's pretty foreigner friendly, but it's one of those like really proper venues where they're actually like live cooking in the middle of the restaurant, and put in the order and got all the stuff out, and they asked if I wanted any drinks. I'm like, well, can you recommend a sake pairing? And he was saying, do you like a dry or a sweet? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And he was saying, this one particular, just it's suitable with a lot of things. It's very accessible. I'm like, yeah, great. So he comes over and he brings them, and they're all each in their own individual little vessels. And so there's like these two really elegant little bottles, and then there's what looks like a little gravy jug, like made of, I think it's like might have been made of metal actually. And I'm like, yep, I'm having the gravy, I'm having the sake boat, thank you very much. And then he comes over with this like tray covered in like really beautiful glassware, and he's saying, right, well, pick your own glass. And I'm like, oh, that's really charming. So yeah, we had a bottle of sake each, and felt pretty rosy after that. And then had a really decent meal of sushi, although I don't think I can quite get my head around sea urchin. I do not understand how nature has produced something creamy that is alive. Very odd to me. Had fish roe for the first time and actually enjoyed it a little more than I thought I might. It's just like little little tapioca balls that just burst into really strong fishy ocean flavours. And yeah, it was a good time. Oh, yeah, got back home pretty reasonably early night. We did most days, and packed up. Took one last ride on the bidet for old time's sake, for the sake of auld lang syne. I still miss the bidet, and I hope it misses me too. Then, yeah, day 19. Got ready for the flight to Singapore. Rolled over there. Um, Father-in-law had decided to spring for business class, which was actually excellent. We were with Singapore Airlines because we were flying to Singapore. The first trip out was a daytime run. I think we had to leave by about, was it 11? I think. So not too bad, but get on the plane and get settled into my incredibly comfortable little reclining pod, and service comes up, and I have never flown outside of economy before. So a lady comes up and like, would you like champagne or orange juice? And I'm like, oh no. Well, I shall have a champagne if you don't mind. And I think over the course of that 6 hour flight, someone came around on average once per hour. So I managed to, well, I'm on holiday, I'm not doing anything else, managed to clear the wine list. Had a pretty good time with that. I remember watching the new Despicable Me movie, that Rise of Gru, and then watching a couple of episodes of What We Do in the Shadows, and had a really excellent time. Did not notice the time going past. Oh, and I saw the entirety of Lord of the Rings over the course of multiple flights, so I've finally seen that movie now. Series of movies, whatever. And I had a particularly wonderful meal on there too. And then Singapore, got to go in the business class lounge. It was okay. Buffet food, infinite bar if you wanted it, but as much as I wanted to keep the buzz going, I also didn't want to find myself sat on a metal box at 3 in the morning on the way back home, like hungover and just miserable. So took it a bit steady. But yeah, food was okay. Drinks were fine. I just had like a stocked fridge full of like ginger ale and soda water and coke and stuff. So yeah, I mean we made quite the most of it really. But it was an 8 hour layover. It was 30 degrees C with like 90% humidity, and like I think all the life had been sapped out of us by that point. Also, when I got off the plane, I was still pretty drunk. Sobered up over the course of the 8 hours, and then yeah, plane back. It was the 777 again, and even though business class, it was still a bit. Well, it was okay, and I think I would have been better if I could have slept. But I'm a little afraid of turbulence, so I tried to sort of like hunker down and have a bit of a nap a couple of times. But every time I sort of started getting settled, like we'd hit a pocket of turbulence, I'd just suddenly like jarred awake and like, oh, cool, gonna die, cool. So by the time we actually got home, I had been awake for fully 48 hours. Or I think I've got to about 47, and I did not even know what my own name was. But yeah, that was about it. So what I've got written down on the very final day was we aren't meant to be up here, which just up in the sky, looking down over the clouds. I just get this sense that humanity is not meant to steal this slice of the world from the birds and the other things that are naturally meant to be up there. It almost feels a bit unfair of us to be up there with them. But I don't know if it was because I was just absolutely exhausted, or just because it's a unique view from up there. But watching the sunrise over the course of several hours was a really profoundly emotional experience. And I don't normally sit on window seats on planes. I'm normally in the middle, and my wife normally takes the window seat if she can, or takes an aisle seat or whatever. Because I don't mind being in the middle, and I don't mind being sandwiched up against a complete stranger. So it's fine. But no, it's and like I've been up in the sky before. I've had like incredible views of a wide open vista. I've been skydiving. I've been in the sky, suspended by nothing, just in it. But it's still, every time I see it, really just really hits me. Uh, but yeah, time just began to lose meaning up there. I must have seen like 5 or 6 full movies, which was more than I thought my attention span would allow. But yeah, entire time I remember thinking that I'm looking forward to people just not paying attention to mask adoption laws anymore. Well, guidance, because frankly, I I don't know. I missed being able to just breathe and not smell myself. Um, I was looking forward to just not standing out so much, and I was looking forward to, instead of miso and fish with everything, I was looking forward to seeing beef and cheese with everything again, which I've been thoroughly taking advantage of recently. Uh, but yeah, immersed in the culture, in a culture that I didn't fully understand, in a language I absolutely didn't understand. Would absolutely do it again in a heartbeat, and I hope to do so. Uh, and I will leave you here. There will be a later video where I go through all of my travel photos once I've got them all off the SD card. But until then, I will take you through a dramatic reading of some of my favourite pieces of decoration English, which I understand that there's what the people refer to as English, which is people attempting to translate things into English but getting it wrong in humorous ways, which I'm finding less funny now because generally when you see that someone has made an earnest attempt to communicate with a foreigner, like through signage or whatever. But decoration English I still enjoy, which is when you see like branding and uh, just words on products and T-shirts in particular that just seem to be there for the sheer hell of having English on them. So if I could take you through a short poem, which I like to call Cool Names. Clown Club Badass. Fucking Rabbits. Dr. Stretch. It's fun to spend time with everyone in the corner. Rodeo Crowns. Creep Creamy Powder. I thank you for your time and your consideration, especially Fucking Rabbits, which for some reason was emblazoned beneath a what looked like a bootleg picture of Barrel, the Oogie Boogie's assistant from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a magical country. I urge you all, if at all possible, to make the trip out there. I think there's something for everyone to enjoy. There's a lot to learn, and there is absolutely just so much to fall in love with. Thank you.